Hello, this is Mark Chinsky with Clients First Business Solutions, and this overview video is going to talk about SAP Business One and project costing. We're going to look at it from the perspective of a life cycle of a project from opportunity to close. And in addition to doing that, we're just going to quickly review what the potential benefits and solutions are of the SAP Business One project accounting. It'll allow you to understand upcoming opportunities and the potential revenue stream they may have in your business. You'll be able to understand actual in-progress projects and understand their profitability both while and after the projects are closed in real time. The solution is able to take together scattered information throughout your organization. This information often comes from purchasing, from accounts payable, from people who manage time and timesheets and reimbursable expenses, etc. All those aspects can be brought together and unified under one application. It also allows you to look at work in progress and potential budget overruns on your projects in order to manage or mitigate project risks before they become bigger problems. It allows you to bridge together islands of information that are typically maintained in different databases and spreadsheets. And you're able to manage project documents both in the field and in the office so that everybody has one version of the truth. You'll be able to see utilization of your employees and who's busy and who's not, as well as manage a myriad of billing methods that your customers might demand. This includes time and material, contract, and milestone billing. So let's go ahead and take a look at day in the life of a sales cycle to a delivery cycle for project and job costing for SAP Business One. The sales opportunity. Let's assume we just get a call from either an existing customer or an existing lead, and they would like to get a proposal on installing a new server system. Now, in your business, you can be 100% services only, or you may sell products, services, or intangible objects such as software and licenses. Either way, SAP Business One can handle that. We're currently looking at the sales opportunity screen. At this point, we'll go ahead and select the potential business partner or prospect that we may have or existing customer. And we can just go in the field, hit the tab key, and select one of our many customers. We'll go ahead and select the first, Norm Thompson. Most of their default information will fill in, including current balances, who the owner or contact is, and what have you. We're going to keep this as simple and quick as possible, so we're going to just fill out basically the essential fields and information, understanding that there's many more options and features for real-life implementations. We'll call this Server Installation Demo. We're going to go ahead and simply use the Sales Stages function where you can work through your sales process, which are user-definable for your particular business. In our case, we're just going to put everything into one stage to simplify this demonstration. We could fill in just an amount for the opportunity, or we can specifically create a sales quote and associate it with materials and services that we expect. In the document number, we can attach to a quote that already exists, or we can create a new one. We'll go ahead and create a new quote. All the default information fills in. We'll go ahead and select the appropriate items. We'll jump down to our servers here, and we'll sell them one of these server point 10,000s. Pick a quantity they want, and we'll just accept their default pricing. Of course, that's completely customizable. We'll select another item, and that will be the server point or the Microsoft Office software to go with it. Again, accept the defaults. Of course, as in all of Business One, these are all customizable. We can show more or less fields, and we can make our windows bigger to take advantage of the real estate depending on your monitor. We'll now go ahead and add some expected services. We have service codes set up here, so in our particular case, we're going to select Installation and Project Management. And notice we can select more than one line at a time if we want. Let's suppose installation is going to take 8 hours and managing the project is going to take 1 hour. And again, the default pricing is here, but this is all custom rates. Installation or any other services you perform can be as specific as a specific price for a specific customer, for a specific employee, if that's the level of flexibility you need. You can put any kind of remarks you want in here. And there are other video demonstrations we have that can go into great detail about all of the flexibility that you have within SAP Business One. We'll just go ahead and put a subtotal in here which will total everything out. and add some additional text. We can also insert predefined text if we had any here. For example, letting know about a rebate. And all of that information will appear on the printed documents. Let's go ahead and add this quotation into the system. Notice, brought forward from that is the amount of the quote, the percent to close based on this stage, and the document is now attached to this opportunity. Going back to the Potential tab, you'll see all of that information copied here at this point. Now that we've completed our opportunity, we can go ahead and add it to the system. So we'll go ahead and click the Add button, and it's ready for more opportunities. At this point, we can review our opportunities in a number of ways with a number of built-in reports. One of the simpler and more flexible ways is through the built-in Excel reporter tool that comes with SAP Business One. For example, if we click on the sample top 10 sales opportunities, of which you get approximately 30 or 40 of these templates, the system will go out and generate a report in real time, and it will show us the information as indicated, including the Norm Thompson opportunity that's in the database. All of this is pulled real time from SAP Business One's database and populated into Excel. We'll go ahead and close this for the moment, and then we'll run one of the built-in reports called Opportunities Pipeline. And this report shows us by stage of an opportunity how many they have and what the actual expected total is and weighted amount. There are a number of other viewing options, but for now that's adequate. If you click on any particular stage, such as quote, and you double click, you'll see all of the underlying details behind these. And of course, like any part in SAP, you can always click on the drill down arrow and zoom into the specific opportunity that you're looking at. In addition, it offers a dynamic analysis which shows us all of our opportunities, and if we hit the play button, shows us as they move through our pipeline, through our various stages. The size of the ball represents the value of the opportunity, and any balls that fall out of the box mean they've been lost at that particular stage in the sales process. So this ball has been lost, these have been lost, these have been successful and have made it to order. Any of these can be clicked on so that you can see the details of the associated opportunity. Now let's go ahead and assume we want to take this quote and create a job out of it because we're pretty sure we're going to go ahead and get this project. We're going to go into the job costing module and go into job management. At this point, I can do searches for any type of jobs, or I can go ahead and create a new job from here. We'll go ahead and click a new job, and at this point we can go ahead and also select the customer ID that we want. We can simply type it in or use our selection criteria here and choose one. We'll choose Norm Thompson because that's whom we entered the opportunity for, and we can fill in various information about this parent job. For which every parent job there are sub-jobs, either one or more, depending on the complexity of the scenario. In this case, we'll go ahead and just add this job as is after we assign a title to it. We'll just call it Server Projects. And we'll let the system create the job. And now it's going to ask if we want to create an associated sub-job, which we will. Now, once we're in the sub-job, we can go ahead and select if we want to either manually put items on the quote or copy these items from the existing quote we created. We'll go ahead and click on Sales Quote, and the system will show us all quotes that we have on file for Norm. The last one we entered is right here. We'll go ahead and select it, and this wizard allows us to choose either some of the lines or partial lines or adjust the quantities. We'll just accept it as is, and everything is brought in to the quote, including the materials and services expected for the job. Now that we have the job created, I can specifically, if I want, assign the work to individuals or leave it to a generic resource. Notice on the right there's a stock check button. This button here allows the system to check the materials that you might have on a quote against the actual on-hand inventory and optionally allow the system to automatically generate the appropriate purchase orders and link those purchase order lines to this particular job. We'll go ahead and click Stock Check. We actually have enough on hand to cover everything, but as an example, under the PO required column, I'll manually put 1 in here. The system is basically telling me why would I want to buy this if we have enough on hand, but I'm going to go ahead and override that. Here we can choose any vendor. This is the default vendor for this item, but we could change this to any available vendor that's appropriate. The various price information and so forth are all here as well. Once we click OK, the system wants to know if we want to use all the sub-jobs or just this job in order to compare our quantities available to. We'll just select this job. In this particular case, this job also relates to serialized items, so we'll just go ahead and choose one of these to get on to the next screen. And we'll say OK. And it's already created the stock transfer to get the materials and has created purchase order number 24 to place the order. At this point, we could also print out a pick slip and or the purchase request document, and we'll go ahead and just print it to screen. These are optional documents, and these are designed to work within the workflow of your business, telling us that we're requesting the purchase of this computer through our purchasing request. So now we've gone ahead and generated the necessary documents. Notice if we go to the Purchasing tab, we'll now see a purchase order linked to this job. And if we click on the document number here, the system will open up the SAP Business One purchase order screen. The system has created the necessary purchase order, and notice it's linked that line of the purchase order to this job. Now suppose it's 2 weeks later and this particular purchase order came in. We can go ahead and either copy this to a goods receipt, which means that the product has arrived, or we can copy it to an invoice, which means both the product and an invoice have arrived. We'll go ahead and tell it the product has arrived by copying it to a goods receipt. We'll accept everything as is, and that product will be received, and it will now ask us what the serial number is for that product, since this item happens to be serialized. We'll update that, and we'll add this goods receipt, which will also update various inventory accounts and assign that item to the job. Now suppose a week later the accounts payable invoice comes in from this vendor. We can bring up the goods receipt and say we've been invoiced for it by our vendor by selecting AP invoice. Again, we'll just accept everything as is, assume the prices are accurate, and we'll accept this, and we'll create the necessary payables and make the necessary journal entries behind the scenes. We'll close our documents. If we refresh this screen, we'll notice that since this purchase order has been completely received, that line has disappeared. That's because the purchase order and the materials are now sitting on our job here. So we can see the various components we've received, both some that we've transferred and some that we shipped. If we go back to purchasing, you'll also notice if we take off the unprocessed checkbox, it will show us purchase orders that have been cut for the job but have been fully processed. Next step in our project is to go ahead and create time entries. Notice at this point we've opened up our web browser and pointed to our server. We can log in, enter our password, and enter time against this job as well. Web timesheet details can be seen in our other demonstrations. In this case, we're going to directly enter time against this job, and we're going to say we worked on it today at 10 o'clock. 4 hours, and we can either type in or choose our business partner, and we can pick either a job or a sub-job for this business partner. We can choose a description or the kind of item or services that we were working on. In this case, it was installation services. And we can go ahead and click Save. In addition, we can add attachments, perhaps a scan of the warranty documents or any other document that we have. We would just pick the particular job we want to do that for and pick a file out on our hard drive. We'll just go ahead and pick this picture of a printer as an example. And that's done. So we've entered time against the job, and we've purchased against the job, and we've put an attachment against the job. We'll go back into SAP back at headquarters, and we'll bring that web time into the system. So we'll go into time entry, and this function allows us to manually enter time into the system or to bring it in from the website. We'll go ahead and do web import, There are some other records in here as well, but we're going to just pick the ones we just entered today. Click Next. Select everything we'd like. And all of those lines of time have been entered into the system, including the appropriate notes that we entered as well. We'll go ahead and click Add. And now we'll go back to Job Management and bring up that job and see what's been posted against it. We'll click Search just to show all jobs. We'll open up that particular subjob. And we'll go ahead and we will click on the Time Staff tab to show all time that's been posted against the job. Notice the 4 hours that was entered on the web is now posted to the job, as well as a description. In addition, because we attached the document, this paperclip shows us our document and the description we've entered here. And at this point, we can double click or click Display and see a picture of that document. Now let's go and take a look at a given report on this particular job now that it's in progress. We can click on Job Status if we want and look at a range of jobs, or we can go ahead and look at Job Analysis, which looks at an individual job in some more detail. We'll just type in our job number here, job 1045, say OK, and the report shows the materials that relate to the job, what we've received, what their cost to us is, and also our loaded cost rate for this individual, which it costs us $320. We quoted the customer $20,000. We haven't invoiced them anything, and since this is a time and material job, we're currently running a loss. The next step we'd like to do is go ahead and bill this job. So we'll go ahead into Jobs and bill it. We're now going ahead and going to invoice this job to the customer, or at least the work that's been done so far. We'll click on the Invoicing tab and we can see each of our lines here that have been entered into the system. We can either manually go through each line and tell it we're ready to bill, or we can pick a status such as Ready to Process and say Set All, and all of these will be selected. We can now go ahead and say Invoice Job Lines and Process. In this particular case, we're dealing with some serialized items, so we have to give the serial numbers of the hardware and the software on the particular job. We'll say OK. And the system will go ahead and generate the appropriate invoice. Now we can go ahead and generate an invoice, and we will preview it to screen, so that you can see the server, the serial number information, the software, and the services at the $100 an hour, less a 5% discount rate that this customer was assigned to, as well as the typical totals, etc. All of these invoice forms can be modified to your look and feel with your logo as necessary. Now, if we go ahead and look at the job report, and we look at the status of job 1045. Just as before, we see all the details, but now it picks up the invoice we generated, less the cost, and thus we have a profit currently of $9,865.53. We can also look at the job profitability on a line basis instead of in total. So if we go ahead, we can either pick the job we're working in or explicitly type it here. And we can see that we sold them a server. Our cost was $11,250. We invoiced it at $19,000 with $7,700 of profit, the information for the software, and we billed for the services. Our cost on those services was $320, and our net is $7,500. SAP Business One with project costing also allows projects to be integrated to the customer service and help desk function of SAP. In this example, we'll go ahead and take a service call from the newly installed server, assuming that that project has been completed. By clicking on the service call button here, we'll be able to go ahead and open up the standard SAP service call entry screen. With this screen, we're able to first select who the customer is with the problem, and we can default in any other information we need. In this case, we'll pick the serialized item that we delivered to the customer, which is this server over here. We can put a subject, server not including. And we can use things such as origin, such as it came in by phone, the type of problem, it sounds to us like it's a software issue, and the type of call. The type of call is important because you can define at what stage or severity of call do we want to create a job in the solution or a project to track against. We can simply take the call and do telephone support and not actually go ahead and create a job. But if this looks to be an involved project, such as going out on site and doing billable or unbillable work, and we want to track actual time, material, and expenses, by selecting job costing in our setting, anything at job costing and higher will automatically create a job. I can leave this unassigned or specifically assign it to a technician if I wanted to. And at this point I can also add additional remarks as well as log any kind of activities that have been done to the job. Again, further demonstrations of the SAP Service Management are available elsewhere. We'll go ahead and say Update. And by clicking Update, the system will automatically define the necessary job in job costing for it to be available for us. At any point, we can now either go to the main job or go right into the sub-job if we wish. And by going into the sub-job, the system will go ahead and open up the sub-job. The sub-job will relate to the service call, but nothing has actually been done to the job. At this point, we have now the full ability to, from in the field on a PDA or via the web, post time, materials, or expenses, or purchase items to this service call. So the job is completely integrated into the service management and help desk function of standard SAP Business One. SAP Business One with project and job costing allows your service business to comprehensively manage your jobs from inception to prospect to delivery and including customer service and support after the fact. With its integrated web timesheet entry, document management, and ability to integrate into all aspects of SAP Business One, there doesn't exist another solution on the market that addresses all aspects of the organization from sales to service to delivery to accounting so seamlessly and in an integrated fashion with the ease of use and elegance of SAP Business One. Functions included include job management, estimating, timesheeting, inventory management, purchasing, service, contract management, and invoicing. We thank you for your time today, and if you have any further questions, please contact your client's first sales representative. Thank you.